So today's devotional is titled Fear Shrinks Your Perspective. Fear shrinks your perspective. For God has not given us a spirit of fear. And we talk about that often. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. And a sound mind. And God, so grounding is God help me to see clearly instead of fearfully. Fear narrows attention. When the mind becomes afraid, it focuses almost entirely on the danger or the risk or the uncertainty, and of course, your survival depending on the severity of the fear. But if all we're thinking about is danger, risk, uncertainty, and survival, it is not only the fear that feels heavy, it also reduces our perspective of how we get to see what's possible. It's how we get to see the world. A fearful mind struggles to see possibilities, solutions, and opportunities. So if we were to say those are opposites, danger, risk, uncertainty, survival, compared to possibility, solution, and opportunities, which do you think you would rather spend time thinking about? And that's why this morning is so important that we are able to concentrate on our mornings on possibilities, solution, and opportunities. And the reason we're doing this, when we're grateful for what we've been, but we're not living in this sense of fear. It helps us keep our mind on God and that we can trust that He has what's best for us. And the hope, because survival thinking consumes most of our attention. If you're so worried about what you're going to eat, or you're worried about if somebody's going to get you, or you're walking down and I'm thinking Michael Jackson's super popular right now, the Thriller video, right? They're walking down through the park in that video, and then the werewolf jumps out. And would love to ask you, what are the werewolves in your life that you're worried about jumping at? But when we're able to concentrate on possibilities, solution, opportunities, and hope, we don't have time for the werewolf to jump out. We don't have time. And if he does, it's like, dude, excuse me, I don't have time for you. I don't have time to spend dealing with the fear of the werewolf because I got so many things to do. So a person facing financial stress starts believing every setback means disaster. One unexpected bill suddenly feels like proof their future is collapsing. Instead of the calamity looking at options, resources, or next steps. Their mind spirals into worst case thinking. Their body becomes tense. Their presence becomes shorter. They stop seeing clearly because fear has reduced their perspective down to survival. So one of the things to be able to get out of fear, one of the things that we got to do is we have to spend time around some people who give us examples of this isn't the end of the world. I remember seasons where fear completely shrank my thinking. Problems looked enormous. Obstacles felt permanent. Every challenge seemed connected to another challenge until my entire future felt heavy. What made it worse was that fear. I am so sorry this morning. Fear convinced me that I was being realistic. But I was not seeing clearly. I was seeing narrowly. I noticed that when fear controlled my mind, I stopped managing positive possibilities. I stopped expecting good outcomes. My thoughts became trapped inside survival mode. God began showing me that peace restores perspective. Once my nervous system calmed down, I could think again. I could see options again. I could remember that one difficult moment did not define my whole future. Fear zoomed all the way into the problem while removing the larger picture of God's faithfulness in my life. God began showing me that peace restores perspective. Here's what's going on with the mind. Fear strongly activates the brain's amygdala. Ooh, I got that now, right? So fear strongly activates, and that's our emotional center, the brain's amygdala, the reason responsible for threat detection and survival processing. When the amygdala becomes highly activated, the prefrontal cortex responds for reasoning, long-term planning, perspective thinking, and emotional regulation, becomes less efficient. This creates what psychologists sometimes call attentional narrowing, where the brain focuses intensely on the possible danger while filtering out broader possibilities, creative thinking, and hope-based reasoning, which really means solutions to the problem that you're in. And so what happens is you go through this cycle over and over and over again of the fear stopping you from seeing the perspective that will get you out. And I think that's one of the ways that God may say, hey, you got to depend on me. If you depend on me, then we can begin to take that cycle, that vicious cycle out by thinking about hope and optimism. Chronic cortisol elevation can further reduce cognitive flexibility, making fear-based thinking feel even more convincing. So what it's basically saying is our brain goes, wait a minute, we are in fear. We don't know how to get out of it. Now we have to narrow our attention. We're trying to get out of it, but the fear is still coming. We're trying to get out. The fear gets up. And we hit this vicious cycle until we say, God, I need you. Friends, I need you. And we begin to start being able to think about those positive times, those thoughts where we have, where I was going to jump up to where it said, where were the optimism and, I guess again, where was it in here? So hope and optimism and strength and, yeah. I should never try to do that, is jump up and down and try to remember stuff. But until worst case, I think it was here. I'm not even sure what it was, so I'm not going to try to find it. So we jump into those times in our life when we get to feel better, that we think that the world has solutions for us. Best case scenario, not worst case scenario. So Heartfelt Condition says, fear zooms in our danger while faith helps you see the bigger picture. Fear zooms in on danger while faith helps you see the bigger picture and a better perspective. So our invitation here is, where has fear been shrinking your perspective lately? Has there been a fear in your life that is constant, I would say chronic, something that you just believe, man, if I'm never going to have enough money to do? I think a lot of our fears center around finances sometimes. Because of finances, when we have enough money, we believe we can do just about anything, and we don't have enough, we think everybody's coming to get us. So the practice today is write down 3 possible outcomes for a situation your mind has viewed negatively. So let's say it's that money situation. What are 3 solutions? Maybe it's a better job. Maybe it is a way that on a side hustle you can make some extra money doing something. Maybe it's you get with somebody who has, and here's the thing where we get stuck sometimes, because sometimes we think that others are responsible for bailing us out of our bad decisions. And when you're thinking about a solution, please don't think about the solution that involves somebody bailing you out or somebody giving you money. Because that doesn't teach us, that doesn't give us the optimism that we can do it, that we can move out of it. That just gives us a temporary band-aid that says, at least I'm out of this situation right now. Don't get me wrong, there are times and situations where, you need to, if you have to ask for money and you're going to get out of it, you got to do that. But I would ask you to try to find some solutions that involve you becoming a better person as a result of solving it. That doesn't mean other people don't help you solve it. I just don't think that we should have an expectation that others' responsibility. Sometimes I hear a question, well, he has enough money, he can fix this. Or he can help me out, they got enough money. And then you're mad at the other person for not giving you their money when you're the one who created the problem yourself. Right, so Father, help me stop seeing life through the lens of fear. Calm my nervous system, steady my thoughts, and remind me that you are bigger than every situation in front of me. Teach me to think with clarity, wisdom, faith, instead of panic. The blessing I want to give to you today, may peace widen your perspective, strengthen your thinking, and quiet every fear trying to dominate your mind. A reflection question. The first one: do you think fear can make problems feel larger than they really are? First question is always a yes. And then the others are two that what helps you regain perspective when anxiety rises? And then why do you think peace helps people think more clearly? So I'll let you answer those yourself. I'm going to put them into the chat. You say, Brian, why don't you put these into the chat before you get started? Because we are live and you can't put stuff in the live chat unless it's live. So it's not like preordained into the chat before we even get going. So there we are. Let's jump into